Hi guys, welcome back. Welcome to the FSX404 channel. Today I'm going to do something unusual, something I haven't done before, but this was a request, so I thought let me give it a try. Today I'm going to do a little review of the Carenado King Air C90. That's the newest airplane Carenado came out with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I actually do, what I usually do when I get a new airplane. A couple of things that you want to try out to kind of get the feel for the airplane. Of course, the very first thing is going to be the takeoff. We're going to add full power. On the checklist it says we rotate at about 95, so let's rotate 95. Smooth liftoff, positive rate, landing gear up. And we're just going to continue a nice little climb at full power for now. The flaps are down, and I'm going to bring the flaps up at 500 feet. Okay, flaps up. The takeoff was pretty smooth. Let's sync the prop really quick. And I bring the flaps up usually at 500 feet. Depending on who you talk to, some people will bring them up right after liftoff. Some people bring them up at 500 feet like I do. The idea being you don't want to mess with the plane configuration that low to the ground. Just in case something unexpected happens, that gives me a little bit more time to do something about it. Okay, now after 1,000 feet AGL, the checklist says to put the King Air on climb power, which is about 92-93%, and to bring the prop RPM down to 2,000. One thing I want you guys to understand is that I don't do scenery videos. I'm not going to show all the features of this King Air. The only thing I'm going to do in this video is show a few flight characteristics of this King Air. So for some of you guys that are expecting to see all the nice features on this airplane, all the good detail that Carenado does, I'm not going to do that. I'm more concerned about the flight characteristics and how this airplane handles. Okay, now one of the first maneuvers that I do in a new plane is something called slow flight, and I've stressed it out before and I haven't talked about it very much lately, but what slow flight does, it kind of lets you get familiar with a plane when the plane is flying slow and it's sluggish, exactly the way a plane would perform when it's landing. So what we do for that, we're bringing down to MCA, minimum controllable airspeed. For this King Air, that's about 75 to 80 knots. And we're just going to fly level with full flaps down, with the landing gear down, which is the landing configuration, the same way a plane would be when it's landing, obviously. So now we've put the airplane in slow flight, and I'm just testing it out. I'm doing a few turns just to get the hang of it, see how stable this airplane is, how much control input you need, and all that kind of stuff. This Carenado plane is surprisingly light to the touch. I expected it to be a little bit heavier. Now, I have never flown this King Air in real life, so I could not compare it to real life. But I expected the King Air to be a little bit heavier than this. But aside from that, we're holding the altitude, and there's nothing unexpected with this airplane. It's pretty stable. The second maneuver that I do when I'm getting familiar with the airplane is stalls. We do want to stall the airplane and just see what to expect from the stalls. Now we're going to do one power off stall, which is a stall in the landing configuration, full flaps down, landing gear down, power out. So as I'm getting set up for the stall, we're at about 4,000 feet, and let's just see how much altitude we lose during this stall. We already put the plane in the landing configuration. The airspeed is getting slower. We're maintaining that altitude by slowly bringing the yoke back. So we're gently pulling the yoke back until the plane loses lift and stalls. There's a stall, full power, first notch of flaps up, and we recovered. And as you can see, we're down to about 3,800 feet. So we only lost about 200 feet during this stall, which is not bad. We recovered the airplane in 200 feet, and that is not bad. Now let's do a power on stall. We've put the plane in the climb configuration. We're 92-93% power. The RPM is 2,000 on the engines. And we're just going to keep pulling back, and slowly that airspeed is going to bleed off, and that angle of attack is going to become so great that the airplane is not going to be able to maintain its lift anymore, and the nose is going to fall down. One thing to remember about power on stalls is that we don't want to pitch up more than 30 degrees up, just for safety. So we're going to pitch up to 30, and we're just going to let that airspeed bleed off. There's the stall, nose forward. and we recovered. And that wasn't too bad at all, actually. That was a pretty mild stall. And the last part, of course, is the landing. One thing to remember about landing any King Air is the flare. King Airs love to float. Now, me being the way I am, always make it hard on myself, so I've put some crosswinds in, and I've chosen to land on runway 26 right, which is the shorter runway. By the way, this airport is Chino, KCNO, and the scenery you guys see, that's the Southern California mega scenery. Now, the approach speed, we're going to try to keep it out of the blue line. Once we put the full flaps in, we're going to have to add a little bit of power to this King Air, otherwise we're going to slow down way too much. And after we put the full flaps in, we're going to reduce our airspeed to our approach speed, which is going to be 105 knots. Now, I just want to remind people that I do have a Twitter account. I do post a lot of interesting stuff there, and we do have a lot of back and forths with people that ask me questions and give me suggestions. So go ahead, guys, check out my Twitter. We're on the glide slope. Well, we've kept our glide slope for the most part. Let's just do this flare and let's land, and let's talk a little bit after we land. There's a touchdown on a center line, reverse thrusters, and there it is. So overall, it's a pretty good airplane. I kind of like this one. I really like Carenado airplanes to begin with. This one's pretty decent. I think it takes time to get a little bit used to it. I'm still getting used to it. This is only my second flight. But I think this plane will be challenging to land. It's not going to be as easy as you guys think. So I'd say if you get a chance to take a look at it, take a look at it. And I do recommend it. So again, Carenado, great job. And to all of you guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you pretty soon.